What about the activity or retail frenzy in the futures and the options market? Given that futures and the options market indirectly could have impact on retail balance sheets, are you monitoring that?
Yeah, the early warning group is monitoring that. SEBI and the Reserve Bank together, we are monitoring that. In fact, currently the options and futures, the volumes are pretty large. It's I think you're probably referring to that. It's perhaps larger than the the nominal GDP of the country. So we have discussed these matters with SEBI. SEBI, I think, has taken a few measures, and they are examining it, and I think they will deal with it.
In the past, Reserve Bank of India has taken proactive measures when they thought that there was a bubble in the real estate sector. The economy is growing and the real estate sector is also growing. What are your thoughts there in terms of the expansion which is happening in the real estate sector? This is something Reserve Bank of India in the past has acted on.
You see, we are watching the developments in all segments of the credit market. Last year in November, we took certain action against unsecured loans, not against unsecured loans, but in that particular sector. Unsecured loans, then things like bank lending to NBFCs. So wherever we saw some signs of a possible stress coming, in fact, at that point of time when we took the measures, there was nothing happening really, there was nothing alarming. But our conclusion was that if we leave it as it is, if we leave it unattended, or if we leave it as it is, then it could have led to a possible crisis at a future date. So we acted preemptively. And you would have seen that, in fact, the numbers speak for themselves. The retail lending, the unsecured retail lending, the other personal loans, what they call it in banking terminology, or the credit card outstandings, or for that matter, the bank lending to NBFCs, they have all moderated. They have all moderated, and we wanted a certain level of due diligence and discipline to be brought into the system, and that has been brought in. So we are watching all these segments of even the real estate sector, including housing. We are monitoring it. The numbers at times may look very high because, you see, SDFC merger took place last year. So that was not a part of the banking sector assets. That was a part of the NBFC. It was a housing finance institution. The SDFC was a housing finance institution, so that got merged with the SDFC bank. So therefore, because of the impact of the merger, the growth in the, what you call the real estate sector or housing sector may look high. But if you net it out, net of the impact of SDFC merger, the growth is within, nothing to worry about. But we are monitoring it nonetheless. And a major difference between what is happening in the, now in the real estate or the housing sector in particular, and the position which prevailed, let us say, more than about 10 years ago, is that now you have a RERA. So the RERA is now regulating particularly the housing sector. So the kind of asset bubble which we saw earlier in the housing sector, the paradigm has changed. And from Reserve Bank, we are monitoring it very, very closely, very, very intensively. And at the moment, it is all right. If at some point of time, some action becomes necessary, not just in the real estate sector, but any other sector, the Reserve Bank will definitely act proactively.